Alright, so the purpose of this is exactly the same as we did with the healers. This is how the DPS are going to do the fight. Um, this is the basic setup of the fight. All the bosses are going to be in the center. We need to kill each boss individually, individual health bars. They do a stacking debuff, and then when it gets like every 12 seconds, the first one's at 20 seconds and 12 seconds after that. When it gets to 4 stacks, it starts to really hurt. You're never going to want to take more than 4, and then 5 will kill you. So the way we're going to do this, DPS is very, very simple. You just need to follow the bouncing ball, basically. I'm going to explain the pull, then I'm going to explain our rotation, and then I'm going to explain the intricacies of the two that you need to care about. Alright, so I'll try and keep this orientated this way the entire time. On the pull, the entire raid is going to be in the center here, right? So it looks like this. Everyone's looking at the bosses. We're going to drag them all to their separate areas, like that, to the far corner. And then the raid itself is going to be this blob is going to move in and DPS one, DPS the other, bounce between the rest, right? All you need to care about is 1, 2, and 3. Mograine doesn't really do much to DPS. With the start is probably the most important. If we don't do the first minute near perfect, it's going to be a wipe. It doesn't really matter. You can't really salvage this sort of strat. You blow your cooldowns at the start. It's going to be Death Wish and Wreck off the pull, like within the first 10 seconds. And I'll talk about how to optimize it for the warriors later. But the basic pull. DPS are going to come in. Thane and Mograine have got like 10 seconds where they can be overlapped like this, and you just burn through both of them. And then we're all doing this before the first 20 seconds. And then the first 10 seconds we burn them. The second 10 seconds, split them up like this. You've got 10 seconds from there to get them as far apart as you can. Because what you don't want is them, the DPS here, to take a Mograine stack, right? So at 20 seconds, all the DPS need to be at least 75 yards, which looks like maybe they did that. Here we go. 75 yards away from Mograine. Okay. So the DPS come in, we burn it, we've got 10 seconds, we get to this point right here. You've got 72 seconds to burn through this mob right here. We take 4 stacks here, so you can take 1, 2, 3, then we prop a Greater Shadow to take the 4th if we need to, and then Thane has to die. And then everyone in this DPS stack, including the tank that was tanking it, follow us. We go straight across, and we start doing the same thing to Mograine. We stay on Mograine for 3 stacks, which is 36 seconds, and then we leave Mograine. We'll go up to the top to Blamau and DPS Blamau for 36 seconds, and then we leave Blamau and go to the safe zone. Safe zone is like here, like right. You want to be as small as you can, right there. You stay there until the marks from Mograine wear off, which is a further 36 seconds, and then you go back to Mograine. Then you go back to the center and wait for your Blamau stacks to drop off, which is another 36 seconds, and then you go to Blamau and then go back. If we did that successfully, all these bosses are dead, and all we're left with is Zalik. In the meanwhile, we've been killing Zalik. I'll explain how to do that later. The fight's basically over from that point. If you get Thane dead in the first 72, and then if you get Mograine at least past 50% within 3 stacks, we're fine. The fight's pretty much won. The only thing that can kill it from that point on is someone doing something silly and like tank or healer wise. But the DPS looks like this. I'll show you how this plays out. There's a lot of text. It's got all the information on it. Ignore the text for now. Just listen to what I'm going to tell you to do. You can read that in your own time. So as I said, we come in DPS for 20 seconds, get 3 full stacks, which is the further 36. We pop a Greater Shadow after the 3rd to pre-pot, and then that soaks the 4th. Then we move across and do for 3 stacks. Then we move together all the way to Blamo and do a further 3 stacks at Blamo. Then you go and stop in the safe zone. Then you go back to Mograine, kill Mograine, back to the safe zone and stop for 3. Then back to Blamo and back. What this looks like is this. I'll turn this right down. Okay, cool. So they move in, they split them immediately, that's fine.
Right off the pull, we're bringing
they DPS hard for the 3 stacks, which is 36 seconds. I'll go through the mechanics of each one later, and you can highlight them.
You want to make sure you have a
Keep an eye up here, this is where the stacks are. So the first stack goes out after 20 seconds. Yep, it's the first one there.
Main concern here. You can see the fireballs only tick me there for about a K. That's not much.
They all stack tight. You don't have anyone out. You don't have the hunters out on their own because the meteor will fall on them and kill them. Alright, that's the second stack. It's 2.
You can see that I'm also not world buff. So that is that. So the main thing here to pay attention to is
there's going to be a third stack coming out. Mark 3. Boom, Mark 3. Now he does a greater shadow protection. So he pops his greater shadow protection. So when Mark 4 comes out, which is the second one, it's going to soak it, and you'll see it pops up. If it wasn't, everyone's going to take like 5k damage. Alright, the 4 stack's done, and he's dead. Now they have, from this point, because when the boss dies, the marks still go out. So they have the 12 seconds after that 4th. He's got 7.5 to get to the safe zone, or get out of his range. We're just going to go straight back to Mograine. Direct line straight to Mograine. So keep an eye on this. This is really close. I think people don't even make it.
Now this is a safe spot right here. The only reason
Mark's going to go out. Yeah, he died. He didn't make it. So the DPS was very, very low. So it's super important on the pull. For at least the first 50 seconds, everyone burns through it. They do a shield wall at 50% and 20%. The idea is that we hit the first shield wall at 50%. And you burn through the next 30% HP to get them below 20%, so they don't do a second shield wall. That's why we burn and stay for 4 stacks on Thane. Then they come over to Mograine. This has no positioning requirement, you just walk in and kill it. Don't think that he's going to have a massive threat lead, because every mark that goes out, their threat gets halved. So theoretically their threat relatively capped. But then so are you, everything's relative. Alright, so Mograine does another stack, 1 stack, 2 stacks. This is Mark 3. In 5 seconds he's going to get a 3rd stack, and he's going to turn around and leave. Yep, got the 3rd stack, and then they run and leave. And they get out before the 4th stack comes out. Don't hang around for extra few seconds, you don't want a 4th stack, because you'll be out of sync with everyone else. Now they run straight over to Blamo. Blamo has the void zones. These guys do it really well. So the healers would have been standing here. He would have got a void zone, and then he backpedals. Gets the next void zone, backpedals, gets the next void zone, and keeps it in a straight line. As long as he's within 40 yards of the tank, he can still heal. And you're left with these alleys that people can still run through. You don't have like a mishmash of void zones everywhere. Blamo, you can't say it.
That's her new name.
This is where your camera's going to go crazy, because you're going to try and, like, you're trying to DPS, you're trying to have a bit of situational awareness. Just put yourself in a camera position. The tank has got a terrible position. He just needs to wait until he starts getting hurt, basically. Put yourself in a position where you can see where your feet. You should always know where your feet are. These guys have good. They spread out all the way, so each person's going to know when they get it. If I was going to min-max this, I'd probably put these people hard to the wall at max distance. Same with him, hard to the wall. So if a void zone hits them, they're only taking, you know, half as much space on the ground from away from anyone else.
DPS here, trying to get in the backside because I like the
It must be a worry. It must be. No, you turned it around. Okay. I'd say it's a bad spot. You can't see where the void zone is underneath him. It's relying on a lot.
Thane is completely worn off, and as long as I stay out of that area, because it's still a big radius.
Alright, so this is going to be 3 marks in a second.
Even though he's dead, and you can still get the debuff, so still stay away from where you kill them.
Important to get a good weak aura that shows off your debuffs, or have them very prominent. Alright, that was 3 marks for Blamo. Now he wants to go back to Mograine, but Mograine's debuffs, I think that's the second one, are still there. 10 seconds, here we are. So he moved out relatively early, before the 4th one went out. But he needs to stay here until his debuffs from Mograine drop off.
The debuff from Mograine But it's only
There are
ticking
8
down here. I
seconds.
only have about 6
If you
seconds
moved
left.
appropriately, it should only take 3
Call off,
seconds.
and then we're gonna go right back into Mulgrain. There it is. Falls right off.
Alright, he's waited.
Pop my slice and dice way too early because I'm a noob. And going in.
And then back into Mograine to finish
That's
Mograine.
that.
Now, on their first DPS, they got it below
That's
50%. So when
basically
everyone moved away, he
the
did the shield wall. And the shield wall just effectively did nothing.
which is Sir
Then he moves back in, and they're going to probably hit the second
something
shield
like that.
wall when he gets to 20%.
You just kind
Like
of
Sailor
want
V,
to
it
stay
happens.
away from her.
Do
Stay
3
away
stacks.
That is for the
There's no
range
AoE.
bullet.
All it is
Again,
it just hits really hard on the boss. If
run
you're a
right out
warrior,
because I
help
have
your fellow
3
tank and just
stacks of
disarm.
Mulgrain.
On cooldown, just keep that boss
I'm just
disarmed.
gonna pause
Gets his
here
3 stacks, moves out.
for my
He wants to go back to
debuff
Blamo
update.
to kill Blamo, but he can't because he's still got the buff.
Something
So he sits there and
fall
waits
off.
1 stack
So you got my 7 seconds right there. 4,
until the debuff drops
3,
off,
2,
and then you get a Blamo.
and 1, and then I go. You
Done.
don't want to move out too soon because you see, boom, I'm already on the debuff again. It's a very
All this, it looks like people are sidestepping the void zones. Just move forwards or backwards. Just keep it nice and simple. You sidestep, you end up putting them everywhere.
Like 2 or 3 seconds left
That
on it. You
looks
start
like it
running
landed on the
towards
tank, and the tank
boss.
moved out. It's perfect.
There's a high chance that it won't fall off because you'd already be too close and get another tick of it. And this is basically
Anyway, and they just go back and forth. They go from here, and the idea is you just go from one to the other and wait in the center. We will have someone stacking that you follow,
Okay. So I'm running out because I have
but
my 3 stacks.
just follow the rotation, basically. Just look at your own debuffs, and that's what you care about. Okay, so that is this mess of text. Once again, Thane for 3 stacks, then pop a great. After the 3rd stack, we got pop a Greater Shadow. We take a 4th stack if we need to, kill Thane. Straight to Mograine for 3 stacks. Blamau 3 stacks. Wait in the safe for the debuffs to drop off. Back to Mograine. Wait for the debuffs to drop off. Back to Blamau. Wait for the debuffs to drop off. And then if any of these are left, we kill them. Otherwise, we do Zealot. Okay, so the actual mechanics you need to care about per area. Thane has a meteor, so you can never be on your own. This is why we'll always move in a big group as DPS. For whatever reason, if you need to leave, you wait until the meteor goes out, or you move before the meteor is due. Mograine just does a dot, hits the main tank, that's it. So just thunderclap, disarm, help your tank. There's not much you can do. He just hits really, really hard. If a tank is going to die, it's going to be on Mograine. Blamau has the void zones, and Zalik has a chain lightning, like circa AQ I-beam. Let's do void zones first. Okay, so void zones, this is how the healers are going to try and do it. Like, they can come in wherever, it doesn't matter where they are. If you stack up, then obviously you double your chances of getting a void zone. You can move together, that's fine. You can do that, it just means you're going to be moving twice as quick. I've told them to split like this, and then move backwards. So this healer would have started here. A void zone would have popped on him, and they just move back. And the next void zone pops, it overlaps like that, and they move back. Then the next void zone pops on top of him, they just move back. Like that. That's the concept there. So leave this open. If you're a ranged DPS, try and do the same thing. Either stack with your healer, if you feel like being mean, or just find your own spot. What I don't want is people to fill up all these gaps, and then both you get void zones, and then everyone has to run through a void zone to get out of there. I don't want that. Anyway, run in DPS, watch your feet, get the 3 marks, and move out. That's a relatively simple concept. This is Zalik, so flip this around. The entrance is where we came in here. Chain lightning dude. When we call for people to move in and out of Zalik, it's going to happen. We might send it a little bit early, depending on how the fight's going, but the way that Malay move in and out, this is the safe zone where you can't get any marks at all. I only say it's safe because it is the perfect distance between all the marks. I'm not going to do this 3 times, but it's the distance between 3 marks where they don't overlap, right? Like it just happens to be on the near side of those stairs over there. When you move in and out from the safe zone, just go to the center of these stairs, hit that wall. The entire time you're keeping at least 8 yards away from anyone else. Run along the wall, to the wall, kill DPS Zalik. When you're moving out, just go to the same area. What you don't want to do is, like, if you run across here, it could bounce from like the tank to that melee to those two ranged to, you know, this healer that's running through to the safe zone and kill everyone in its path in the safe zone. And you just wipe out 20 people all at once. You don't want that. Don't be that guy. So to avoid that, just hit that wall and move in. That's how melee moves in and out. We'll just move him in pairs because obviously 3 or 4 jumps is too much. Stack in pairs, just move in pairs. Just pick a friend. Range, same thing. You just come in from the safe zone, angle towards this pillar, and just move on the inside of this pillar. Done. You can probably comfortably stack in 3 or 4 because if you're targeted, just move forward. And like, we can min-max this. If the melee are not moving in and out, 2 more range can go over here. You know, you can have 2 range here, 2 range here. That's fine, as long as you're spread 8 yards. The jump is 5, we're just being overly cautious. And look, that's pretty much it. I'll have this image, all these ready to go in case you need it. Don't think we need to know anything else. If you have any questions, just hit me up before tomorrow.